boom, 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 boom. Ladies and boogermen, he is Omar.
Look at this. Look how
I am Moe.
how jelly I am.
And this is the Moe and O show.
Hey guys, welcome to the Moe and O show. My name is Omar Gonzalez.
And I'm Omar.
We are based out of New Jersey. We're professional photographers, and no, you're not.
I am a professional. I have an LLC, son.
Oh yeah, you are. That's right.
Don't you ever embarrass me like that in front of my friends.
I was trying to put you
Know
down.
your place, son.
Don't put your friends down, man. That's
Pick
all
me
you
up.
have is your friends, and
Pick me
you
up.
are my best friend.
Oh, he's like a brother to me. So today we're going to talk about a lot of things not phototypish related, but we're going to start with the most important thing in the world, movie entertainment.
Movie entertainment. So I discovered something about myself. We're going to talk a little bit into the Spiderverse Spider-Man movie.
And also a little bit about the Aquaman movie.
And we will finish up with an issue, not an issue, but a concern I have with shooting
We're going
Flash.
full into the Sony world.
Yes, we'll get to that. All right, so let me start with, I got to start with my story. So you haven't seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, right?
No. And you haven't seen the Aquaman movie.
Yeah, so we're going to sort of have a spoiler-free conversation. And you know how I haven't even seen any previews, so you have to really be careful when you talk to me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I went to see Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse, and this doesn't have anything to do with the movie, but I discovered something about myself that I can't be distracted or it destroys the movie for me. I went to an early show, it was an IMAX, and it was labeled as 2D, right? 2D IMAX, which, by the way, the movie isn't filmed in IMAX. Do you know that?
Yeah, I do.
Barely anything is filmed in IMAX.
No, but they'll put it there anyway. We'll get $15 extra. Thank you.
Totally. All it is a beautiful big screen, but the movie's not in IMAX. I mean, only like Dark Knight, the first 15 minutes is. So we sit down, the movie starts, it starts playing in 3D, right? So, okay, I'm like, I look at the guy in front of me. There's only like 5 people in the theater, and I look at the guy in front of me, and he looks up at me, and we're both like thinking the same thing. We're like, no one has glasses on, right? So we're like, and I ask him, I'm like, this is supposed to be 2D, right? And he's like, yeah. So he gets up. You know, they always need the one person to take the step. If not, we'll all sit there like sheep.
Yeah, you're a sheeper, huh?
Yeah, so I'm like, you go. So someone comes in, they stop the movie, right? So the movie starts again, but it's in 3D still. So they start playing it in 3D, but the guy is doing something with the projector. So now we're watching the beginning of the movie in like 2.5D?
2.5?
2.5D.
There is a 2.5D.
No, well.
But he did it wrong. He did it wrong, son.
Anyway, so the picture is going from double to single to double. So whatever technology is used in the theater, he's like going from 3D to 2D. I didn't know it was that simple. I thought you had to change like a reel.
They charge you millions of dollars for that.
So anyway, I'm sitting there in the theater, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to get the story, but the picture is going from double to single to double. And I'm like already annoyed, like I get. Right? I'm easily worked up. So that's okay. I'm going to watch the movie. But now the movie starts, and it's playing, and it looks like it's still slightly double, right? And I'm already annoyed. And so I went outside, and I got a refund. I left the movie. I actually watched it like 2 days later.
Wow.
And it turns out the manager said, no, that the movie's not double. That's what the artist wanted. Like, get out of here. That's not what the artist wanted. And it turns out, yes.
Wow.
The bokeh in the movie by the artist is stuff that's double. So with the combined, them fixing the double and then the artist rendition, I was thrown off. And I actually was wrong. The movie is, so if you go see Into the Spider-Verse, you don't have double vision on some of the blurred parts. They're double.
That's not you being wrong. That's a theater for messing up from the beginning. That's
Yeah.
what made you think it was wrong.
Yeah.
That's crazy, though.
Okay, so that was my theater experience, but I'll hold off tell me about Aquaman.
So, remember weeks ago we said we watch Aquaman. I said I would not watch it opening night because it didn't deserve my money.
Totally, you
And
said
this,
they.
that, and the other.
You also said they seemed to change the story.
It went from what seemed to be an originally dark planned movie to a lighthearted type of thing in Marvel-esque fashion. You need to watch the movie.
All right.
You need to spend 2.5 hours of your life watching this movie.
Why?
The cinematography,
Cinematography?
the cinematographics
New word.
The word Omar said previously.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing visual. It was candy for photographers or people who make movies. The way they took Atlantis and made it so beautiful. The way they filmed some of the fight scenes were very unique.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a unique perspective that I really enjoyed, and I haven't seen in any other movie yet, but I'm sure everyone will be doing next week.
Oh, that's interesting.
Overall,
I'm intrigued.
You felt that it was a 2.5 hour movie. It is not. I'm not gonna sit there and tell you it flew by.
Okay.
No, you felt that it was a 2.5 hour movie, but at the end of the movie, you left out and you said, you know what? That is Wonder Woman, best DC movie. Aquaman,
Really?
DC movie.
Wow.
Yeah. Some people will put Superman, Man of Steel on there. That's
No.
not even on my top
Oh,
5.
no, that's a
you know.
terrible movie.
But-
But let me ask you about the characters and the acting. Did you have like a sense of the character like you do with like Christian Bale?
So they're not doing an origin story on this movie. They're taking you from Justice League.
Okay.
So you already had a little knowledge of Aquaman there, and they definitely flesh him out.
Okay.
And not seeing previews like you, I didn't realize how many great actors were in this movie.
Good.
And it was just like one thing after another, and again, folks, it's a superhero movie, so you do have to turn your brain off.
It's not like
Turn
Academy
your
Award
brain off.
winners.
You can't
Yeah.
sit there and say, "Well, that doesn't make any sense. Why that?" No, it's a superhero movie.
So let me ask you this then about it, because one thing I've been sort of annoyed with is physics.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, in a live action, like Homecoming Spider-Man, right? They could have used Tom Holland in his suit when he jumps up onto the Washington Memorial. There's even clips of him doing the stunt and being on a wall like the old Spider-Man TV show. And it looks cool. You know, it looks a little cheesy because it's actually him like climbing a wall fast with wires. They killed that completely and made a video game Spider-Man. Our brains can see physics. Like, is physics an issue with this movie that you're like computer animated?
So here's a little behind the scenes of this movie, which I found out after I watched the movie. They filmed a lot of the movie on wires.
Okay.
So the actors were all on wires. So they had like a free flowing flow to it. So the actual movie wasn't filmed underwater, but with the CG for adding water, with the wires, with the actors' actions, very few fight scenes you see a little CG. You notice it.
Okay.
But the rest of the movie, the CG doesn't come into play.
All right,
you don't
good.
even think about the CG.
Because like Wonder Woman, the end ruined a little bit of that movie
The
with
fight with
yeah. I was gonna say Adonis,
me too, but
and it's not Atlas. It's
Ares.
Ares. The fight with Ares was, first of all, it's the guy from freaking Harry Potter. Like, come on,
He
couldn't
was
they?
the weakest villain, physically looking villain I've ever
not
seen.
to take an aside here, but if it's Ares that can take any form, he's a god. Can he take any form, or he has to be Weasley?
No, he's normally not that form. So
Right? Couldn't he like become?
they should have done it like this is what he looks like day to day, but when he's battling,
I think they tried that. They either CG'd muscles or whatever, and
But
he's
he's
still
so weak.
Mr. Weasley, man. I'm sorry, some of us are typecasted, and that's Ron Weasley's dad
for
fighting
life, he's gonna wake up 3 years from now.
Yeah, man. So I didn't agree with that kind of thing. So Aquaman, definitely gonna see. All right, so
But what did you think of the Spiderverse?
okay, so it is the hands down best Spider-Man movie made.
My goodness. That
Remember,
says a
you
lot.
said not you, even with Homecoming, that there is no good Spider-Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first good Spider-Man movie.
It kept true to what you remember, or they just did it their own way very well.
Yes, they did it their own way very well. And just like you mentioned, the Aquaman, like impressing you with its newfound graphics and how they use their cinematography, the animation in this, they used a method that is more sort of like a little blockier, because what they did was, instead of doing 24 frames a second, they only drew 12 and doubled them. So it is 24 frames a second, but each thing is doubled. So you get kind of like a little bit of It's got a look. The movie's got a cool comic look. And going back to physics, the thing that annoys me about computer animation is that things don't look real. You can't really make Spider-Man look real if he's supposed to be coming down on a... I'll put the clip here, the physics from, I think, Amazing Spider-Man. He's coming down and he just changes directions and goes faster another way. Our brain can pick up like Newton's laws of motion.
He would have been dead or ragdolled.
He would have been dead. His arm would have fallen off from the force. So imagine an animation cartoon. Like, it can do physics. It can do anything, like flips and things. So the Miles Morales character, nailed. The Peter Parker character, you saw the preview, right? Yeah, so you have an idea of the look of it and the feel of it, but story, animation, winner all the way.
So we both say 2 thumbs up for both of our movies.
Yeah.
So Aquaman, surprising, wonderful movie. Not the greatest movie of all time. It's not going to win awards, but
It's not.
But you're coming from the DCU, so it's one of the best DCU movies to date.
Great. And this is the best Spider-Man movie. It beats the Raimis.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the Raimis were fun, but you had to put them in their own little world.
Yeah, for sure. And I also don't want to... This is actually related to the Raimis. You'll see this movie is related to the Raimis. It's the same Spider-Man because of things that are said in the movie. But I don't want to also hype it up where you go in disappointed, you know. But I'm telling you, when you rank them, this is the best Spider-Man movie. Best story, best characters, best...
Good to re-level set. So remember, whatever we're saying is based on our opinion. Go in there thinking you're going to hate it, and you'll probably love it.
Yeah, and that's why I don't watch previews, because it's like, I'm always disappointed.
Ruin everything.
Next topic.
So Omar, you were thinking about complete immersion into the Sony world, but you found that you may have a problem with events. Why is that?
Not a problem yet, because it's only the first time I've used it, but I have to figure something out. Okay. So here's the thing. 100% the switch to Sony, and for portraits, like I told you, gold. Eye autofocus, totally fine. Natural light portraits, fantastic. 2, if you're doing portraits with studio lights, it's still great, because the only thing when you're working with lights is it loses its mirrorless power of what you see is what you get. Because if you're working with flash, you are underexposing the person. There goes your image. So on the camera, I have a button that's set to, I call it night vision. It's like, hey, I'm working with flash. Turn off the exposure, right? Hit the night vision, and then I can see my image and then shoot with the flash. But now you're living the DSLR life. Shoot, chimp. Shoot, chimp. You have to if you're working with flash, right? Not an issue if you're doing portraits. Totally still okay. When you're shooting with a speed light, you need to get a preview so that you can make sure that your flash is doing the right thing.
Make adjustments as needed.
Totally, right? When you do it on a Canon, you shoot and check really quick. The camera's already ready to shoot again. But the I was about to say the Fuji, but the Sony, when I shoot, I've got 2-second preview on to take a quick glance to make sure I'm not overexposed or anything. But I have to pump this button, the shutter button, to get the preview off in a second.
I've turned off my preview.
Watch. Yeah, but when you're shooting with flash, you need preview.
Well, no, because I see your point.
You have to, if you're shooting events, you have to make sure that because the person will change distance. So you have to make sure. I change my power of my flash all the time. So watch, I'll show you what I have to do. Right? You see how long it's taking? So I have to go like this. Pump it, and it's out. Pump it.
Pump up the... No, yeah, no, I get it.
If I didn't preview, I could be overexposing everything without knowing.
No, perfect sense. Because I was going to say I don't use it, but then again, my events have been slow. My one event I used it for was a slower event. There was no one running up and down.
Totally.
It was a bad.
Were you shooting TTL?
I think I was shooting partial TTL, and as well as at one quarter.
Because if you're shooting TTL, I could see you don't have to preview. You're like trusting your flash to get you close. But I'm shooting manual flash.
Whenever again, my event was so slow moving that if I ever wanted to take a shot and look, I had no problem. So I would just hit the play button.
Yeah, hit the play
and
button.
Then
you're right.
Shutter up. So that's my event, which was really slow paced.
Mine's fast. Yeah.
So that's why when you started saying that, I said, you know what, I see your point.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it doesn't work. What I'm saying is I haven't learned how to use this if people are, because I'm talking entrances and the chair and the horror.
I watched the video on this where someone was saying the same exact thing you're saying. So it is obviously at one point a known issue.
Yeah, and it
Or
was
no
able to
concern.
focus. The good thing, it was able to focus. By the way, it's not able to focus on eye or face in the low light. You got to like throw that away. You actually have to use like one of the wider, and it has the. You ever see the little green like
The little
motion
searchies,
dots?
like-
Little searchies. They work in the dark, but face is a little tougher.
Yes,
Slow.
When you have to shoot wide focus at that point. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to practice with it. That was my one hang up with it. But with portraits, I've only done 2 sessions with it and love it for portraits. But does that mean I have to carry
Let me
2
ask you a
systems
question.
for a while?
That's a good question. Let me ask you this question. With the portraits, did you find that, which they should be, but let me ask you, did you find that the 24 megapixels was more than enough for you?
Yeah, I was actually surprised. I was scared. I wanted the A7R3. I really wanted that camera because I like... I feel like I was going to head towards medium format, having like delicious landscapes that are huge and portraits that you see every pore. But my entry into the system, I was like, this one has better skin. They fixed the skin sort of reading on this, and the autofocus is crazy good on this. So I went with the A7 III. Yeah, and I'll put a picture here, but like I zoomed in and sharp. Like enough. 24 megapixels is enough.
Yeah, and that's exactly what when we was talking about it about a year last year, 2018.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, and I was like, well, yeah, I'm going from 45 megapixels down to.
Yeah, what have you found?
And I haven't, with all the practice shots that I have, and there hasn't been a lot of them, but the ones I have taken,
Enough.
more than crispy.
More than crispy.
More than crispy.
Yeah, and so I'm super happy with the images. And the other hang up was I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to edit the RAWs well enough. Believe it or not, the sliders are less extreme than my Canon. I'm pulling a lot of the sliders. All I had to do for the Sony was take my slider pulls and have them just like my diet.
That's the good thing about the Sony and Sony world. The Sony lenses, the body has a software fix built in for the lenses. So it automatically corrects a lot of the distortions for wide angle lenses.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, so by the time you get to your Lightroom, you see edited Sony software.
Oh, cool.
So that you don't have to even click that little button to fix
I
it.
didn't know that. That's cool. The going to Sony Glass though, what has your search found? Like, is it
It's painful.
Yeah, right?
It's painful because I'm in the place of I don't want to stop doing professional photography altogether.
Yeah.
But I'm not taking 8 events, in 6 months like I used to.
You can't build a whole lens library.
So
now.
I don't want to pay $2,200 for a 7200 or $2,200 for a 24-70 2.8 that is going to be heavy and awkward.
Yeah.
So all their lenses are amazing. They're expensive.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking I had purchased the 24-70 f4. I already sent that back.
Oh, you did? Okay. It wasn't that.
Well, it did a great job. It did a great job for an event, right? But I don't use zoom lenses, so I'm going to slow down and do more portraits now.
So that'll be your 35 and an 85.
So I have a 50 and an 85 currently.
Cool.
And I'm looking at, if I ever need an event lens, I am thinking about just picking up the Sigma.
Or how about that Tamron, that 28 to 70? Everyone says the Tamron Sony mount 28 to 75.
That's what I was thinking. I don't know why I said Sigma.
Oh, you meant Tamron. Yeah, that may be a lens, the one lens I pick up first that's a zoom lens.
I had it for my Nikon, and I loved it.
I think Georgie has it too.
He has it now. Yeah, he ended up inheriting it.
Oh, is it yours? Okay,
so,
cool.
and he rocks it.
He does.
And now the new version with the firmware updates and this, that, and the other. At first, when it came out for the Sony, it had a autofocus issue, but that's already been fixed.
Cool.
And if you have an older one, you could fix it with a in-camera firmware. You don't have to send the lens back.
Oh, very cool. It's got a little USB guy on there.
No, the actual camera will tell the lens what the update is.
That's cool.
Very cool.
That's how they do it on Fuji too.
Ding.
So, all right, man. I mean, I look forward to doing a couple of videos on the camera and teach people about the camera. But I like that we both have it, so we can kind of bounce ideas off each other.
And then when we go shoot, we could learn from each other. When
We
we
gotta
go
go
for
shoot.
a fun shoot.
Yeah,
Get
why
out
not
there and relax with the world.
Totally, man.
We need to go to the city, do some more street photography.
Let's do it.
And people should join us. All three of you.
Let us know if you want to do a photo walk.
You have to be in New Jersey or New York.
Yeah, totally.
City.
New York. All right, guys.
Hey, thanks for everything, guys.
See you next. Overexposed mugs.
Over.
All right, see you next time.